Hey everyone, this is Nolan from Fly Disc Golf, and I'm going to do my in the bag video. This is actually not my bag for the 2024 season. It was sort of what I did last year because my New Year's resolution in 2023 was to bag one mold per company, and I thought it was a really fun experiment. I got to test out a bunch of discs from a bunch of different companies, a lot of smaller companies, and I found some discs that really just might just stay in my bag for the 2024 season. A lot of really wonderful things. And let's just get into it. So the first one is going to be my putters. So this year I used the Alfa Discs Snoopy. It's a 2402 in their copper plastic. It's an incredible putter, best putter I ever used. Dies pretty quickly, really nice puddle top disc, and I've been hitting bangers really all year with them. They really feel comfortable. It's probably the most comfortable disc I have in my bag with throwing forehand, so I feel like I have a lot of control with the disc overall, backhand and forehand. Next we have the Latitude 64 Savior. This thing is wonderful. I didn't use it as often. I was actually switching that slot out, the Latitude 64 slot in and out of my bag a lot through the year, but I settled on this because I really needed that really nice, just overstable approach disc. I actually feel more comfortable throwing this backhand than forehand. I feel like if you over torque it, it really can turn over, but backhand, put it on a nice hyzer, it'll hold and it'll crash really nicely, have a nice little skip out of it. Really nice disc, really flat too. Next, my mid-ranges. So the first one is going to be the Yikun Svea. Really sweet disc from Kastaplast. I tried a few discs from them. The few that really stuck out to me were like the Berg, the Svea, and the Grim X. But this one is my favorite. Holds really nice backhand turnover lines perfectly. And I really just feel like really nice, don't need to put too much effort into it at all type of disc, and that's a sweet thing to have. Next I have my 20th anniversary Buzzz in Elite Z plastic. Really sweet Buzzz, my favorite Buzzz I've ever thrown. Just handles torque really well to sit up and then just sort of go ride straight. Really like just sort of a really nice point and shoot type of mid-range. Next I have the Halloween edition Eclipse, Total Eclipse Lazadal. This thing is overstable, more overstable than the numbers would say. Very nice in any type of windy condition. I can throw it dead flat and it will just ride out and then taper off at the end. So really reliable for me. If I put it on an Annie, it'll take that Annie line a good bit and then I'll level out at the end. Just a really good all-around mid-range. The Gila is next from Reptilian Discs. This is really a sweet disc. How I had the Savior earlier for overstable approach. This is really what I've been using for forehand overstable approach the whole year. It really hasn't come out of my bag at all. This has been the Reptilian disc for me. It's really perfect, you know. Really nice flat top, nice overstable flight, pushes straight for a good while, and then it gets a really nice skip out of it at the end. So really reliable, really enjoyed it. Next we're going to hit the fairway drivers. So the first one is one of my favorite discs of the year, is the Yikun Kui. This thing in Soflex plastic. This thing is one of the coolest discs I've ever thrown in my life. A very extremely interesting disc. It dies pretty quickly, but you put on a hyzer, it'll sit up and ride. It's extremely torque resistant. You throw flat, it'll hold that line and just go straight, and then just die at the end. If you put it on an Annie, of course, it'll take off to the right. For me, take off to the right, throwing backhand, right hand backhand. But it really is pretty incredible. I've never really seen a disc where I can just put as much torque on it as I want, and it'll sit up so easily, and it just doesn't turn over. It's a remarkable disc. Like I said, dies pretty quickly, so really perfect for whenever I'm doing long approaches and some holes, maybe like 200 to 230 foot range. Really, this type of disc is what I've been throwing. If there's any chance that there's OB behind the basket, or if the basket's on a hill, it really just sits and lands right where it needs to be. So great disc, and I love a lot of Yikun discs, so it was hard to choose that one. Next one is the Polaris LS, and this disc from Millennium Discs is an incredible, it's a flippy fairway driver. I know it's a -1-1, 6'4", -1-1, but it's pretty flippy, and it's really nice just to put minimum effort into. It reminds me sort of like a Star Leopard or something like that. You put on a hyzer, put low effort into it, have it sit up, and then get a little bit of turn out of it, and then have it come back. It's a really sweet disc. Very reliable, great for tunnel shots this year, and nice disc. Next, I have one that's been in my bag most of the year, I think all year. Last year was the Obsidian Discs Shard. This is a very underrated brand, and I would say that all their flight numbers might be like, I think they're a little less stable than the flight numbers, but this is supposed to be a flippy fairway driver anyway, and it does just that. It's a little bit flippier than the Polaris LS. Really sweet, really nice, reliable disc. If I want to put it pretty high up in the air, put it on a hyzer, it'll sit up and really take a really nice turn and then come back and place right where I need it to be. So sweet disc, beautiful disc, and would definitely recommend trying it out, or trying out really any of the Obsidian discs if you haven't tried them out yet. Really nice finished discs. Next, I have my Innova disc. This was another slot that took all year to figure out. I ended up settling on the Metal Flake T-Bird 3. Perfect disc for just launching it flat, straight, and having it have a nice reliable fade at the end. It's really perfect. I've been using it anytime there's any bit of wind. I just know that it will reliably have that finish and won't like just turn out on me. So sweet disc. This year I used it a lot from like just standstills if I was behind trees and whatnot. I don't know if there was really any particular reason for that, except that I just felt comfortable getting easy distance from this disc. Really nice disc. Definitely check that out. Check out really any of Innova's Metal Flake plastics. I think all those molds in Metal Flake plastic are pretty underrated. Next, I have the Mint Alfa in Apex plastic. This actually has been in my bag for a couple years now, not just last year, but it's a very sweet power driver, really nice. I've been using all the time as an overstable, my overstable control driver, or rather overstable power driver. I don't really see that word too much, power fairway, but no, it's really sweet. I get a ton of like, I put a little baby flex on it, and it will really just ride far and then have a nice subtle fade I don't think it's really as much of an O2 if you put that little baby flex on it, but when you do release it flat, of course, it does show. The numbers are pretty spot on, 8402. But very sweet disc, very reliable, and very nice feeling. It's one of the more nice feeling plastics I've got in my bag. Next, we're gonna jump into the we got one more 8-speed, the Divergent Wyrm. So this I've been waiting to be PDGA approved for a very long time. This is one of my top 3 favorite discs of all time. They got it PDGA approved in December, so I actually had the Golem in my bag for most of the year, and then as soon as this got PDGA approved, it's gonna stay in my bag for a very long time. Very nice, flat, really floppy plastic, extremely overstable. Like it's an incredible utility disc, and I would say just a touch less stable than the Tilt. So if you are looking for just the most obscene floppy utility disc ever made, check out the Divergent Wyrm. Then we get into my 9 speeds. I still say fairway driver, a lot of them say distance driver, let's say hybrid driver. First one up, the one that's been in my bag since we opened the store, my Westside Hatchet with our fly right stamp on it, alternate stamp on it. This thing is one of the flippiest fairway drivers I have, and it is really perfect for really long hyzer flip turnover shots. It's just perfect, rides perfect. Great disc. Next, I have my Honeybee Pinnacle Bandit, and that is from Legacy Discs. Really sweet disc. Definitely check it out. It's pretty flippy, not extremely flippy in this plastic, but it's really nice, like baby hyzer. It'll sit up, get a little bit of turn out of it, and then come back straight. And it's one of my go-tos for the long tunnel shots. Another one of my favorite discs, the Infinite Disc Scepter in Swirly S Blend. Just love this plastic, feels amazing. Really nice, just pretty straight forehand disc when it's beaten. This one's beaten in a lot, so really pretty straight, and then has a really nice reliable long fade to it. So really nice forehand driver. My buddy Aaron got me this one, and it's definitely doing its job well. Next we have the Dynamic Discs Escape, the Kona Panis, not Kona Montgomery Escape, so not quite super new, but this one's very flippy, almost as flippy as my Hatchet, not quite, but it's just one that really will hold the line or not hold the line, but it'll hold a turnover. So really anytime I put it on a hyzer, and it'll sit up and just keep riding to the right for me, throwing backhand. Great disc, very fun. Next I have another sort of utility disc, the Flare, Streamline Flare. This thing's been in my bag all of last year. Very fun disc, super overstable, ridiculously overstable. I always put on a flex forehand, and it does its job. Very fun, and probably one of the most used overstable discs in my bag. Next I have the Plasma Tesla. I haven't had this one in my bag all year. Last year I had my late cousin's Tesla in my bag, but I put this one in when I could get it, and it's just a really nice control driver. Those of you that know me will say, like, this is one of the best just control forehand drivers I have and have ever thrown. So I really feel like I can put it on any line and it'll hold that line. Really sweet driver. Definitely recommend checking out the Tesla. Next I have the Pro Discus Lasery. Fun disc. I don't have too much to say about it. I've had it in my bag a little while now. It's been in and out of the bag, but it's a really nice fairway driver. I don't use it too often, but it does do its job whenever I need it to. It's pretty straight with a touch bit of fade at the end. Next I have the Nordic Phenom, the Discmania Nordic Phenom. Very sweet disc. This is just something I will use anytime I'm not using my next disc that I'm about to talk about. This is a really nice overstable distance driver. Very reliable, very much just something when I need to put the disc way out there and have it come back. It'll do its job. The next one is the RPM Tara Iti, the less stable Nordic Phenom, I would say. This disc was love at first throw. This thing really is money. I actually used it to replace my Neutron Tara so that I could put the Tesla in the bag, and it is just a very sweet disc. Not as stable as the Tara, but it pushes further, and just overall really nice disc. Anytime I need a nice subtle fade into something, this is what I'll reach for. Next two are my number one drivers in the bag, my Cataclysms. I have one that my cousin Paul died, and it is Cat Noir. If you know, his signature is the Cataclysm. And then one that my buddy Jonathan and his fiancee Abby died for me. It's a really nice spin die on the special edition Dustin Keegan version of this, and both of these are sweet. This one's a flippier one. I'll have to put on a hyzer, but it sits up, just zooms. Then the same thing with this, just a little less hyzer, and I can really crank on this, and it is my best distance in my bag, best driver. Feels most comfortable in my hand, just all around my favorite driver. Next I have my probably second favorite driver in the bag. I used to have my Made in Georgia 500 Spectrum X3. Then that one sort of died out, and I put this one in the bag. This one hasn't quite beaten in as well as the other one was beaten in, but still really nice distance driver. Very fun, pushes pretty far, has a good amount of fade. If I put it on an Annie, it will hold it longer than I would expect it to, and then but it will crash. It will crash pretty well for me. Next I have the Thought Space Synapse. Super destroyer like disc. Really nice for forehands. Flex forehands is really what I use it for. Just my flex forehand distance driver. Next I have the Wild Discs Great White. This thing, this was my cousin Paul's, and he dyed it, gave it to me. This thing I really just use for like spike hyzers and really fun goofy shots, but it just it does what I need it to. Second to last is the DGA Hypercane. This thing is sweet. It's a 13404. It's not as overstable as those numbers might suggest, but it is very overstable, extremely overstable, that I will use it for similar shots to the flare, but if I need more distance. So really nice disc. And finally, the Gateway Samurai. I was messing with a lot of discs with Gateway this year, like the G1, the Spear, the Ninja, the War Spear. Was it War Spear? Yeah. Samurai is the disc. If you are looking for a really nice flippy distance driver, really want sort of effortless distance, or if you're looking for like your first understable distance driver, the Samurai really is a sweet disc. You can really crank on it, and I do have to put on a hyzer now whenever I do launch it, but it is it's fun. So yeah, those are all my discs, and then my bag is the Vinyl Makala BP1, but with Fly-Rite on there. Very sweet bag. Carries a lot of discs, as you just saw, and yeah, so this year will be fun. I'm excited to see which of the discs stay in, which discs come out. I used to throw a lot of Prodigy and Innova, so I will be trying to throw maybe some of those discs back in this year. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my In the Bag, and have a good year.